Okay, so we continue with the item of duty to provide work and wages. In the case of Collier here, the plaintiff was a chief sub-editor with the defendant. He sought the right to work and be paid for working. Yeah? So he wants work to be done, and work was not given to him. This is his problem with the employer. So he went to court and asked for justice, and it was held by the court that the employee had the right to work. Yeah, because the lack of opportunity for the employee is to able for the employee to exercise skills and build his reputation is something that is a fundamental right. You know, otherwise you will be enslaved. You know, just like you are in prison, you don't have to do anything, but food is given to you. The only thing that the situation of jail, you can't move, you know. But this is prejudice, yeah, to that particular person, and obviously prejudice to his future career. You know, when you go to work, you are to develop your sense of happiness from being able to learn things. Yeah, you are able to enhance yourself with new techniques, new understanding, new capabilities. So that is building your character, and that building of character, it is an asset for you to be able to go out to another company. Sometimes, you know, after a few years you feel that you want to get a better position, better salary. So you need to be able to show to your new employer that you are able to do certain things. But if work is not given to you with the previous or the current position that you are in, then it is a detrimental element for you. Okay, so the court mentioned in this situation, this however does not mean the employer must ready work for the employee if there is none to give. You know, that is the court's interpretation. Yeah, basically you have to give. You know, you cannot not to give. However, if there is none to give, then you can allow the employee to not getting any salary. One example that can relate is during recession, when company doesn't have money to pay, or because the production cannot continue, because there is no point of creating products when nobody is buying your product, right? So you have employees to produce the product. So if you don't produce the product, obviously the employees, the workers, the factory workers are unable to work. So you still can manage to pay them. Yeah, if you are able to manage them salary, you can still continue saying that, look guys, I don't have work to give to you, but I want to maintain you because the economy will come back. Sometime after a few years, it will come back, or after 1 year it will come back. So I still need you. I'm a very good employer. I want to maintain you. However, I would like you to do something else. Yeah, is it you don't mind doing things, not the production thing, but something else, say for example. Yeah, this actually happened with big companies like Proton. They produce cars. You know, recession, nobody wants to buy car, obviously, right? Because people are worried of their income. They don't have money to pay their houses. They are more concerned about the more important things in their life, rather than uh, buying cars. So the statistic or sales volume of a car will go down. So the manufacturing company would not produce the car because they have already stocks. So they actually build cars and they would keep it as stocks. But there is no point of maintaining their stock. So what they did was to hold on production. When they hold on production, the workers are unable to work. So Proton, they opt to say to their staff, I don't have work to give to you. However, I can give you half salary. You can go off and work somewhere else. When times is good, then we will call you back we will give you the option for you to come back if you feel to come back lah. That is one option. Another option is that the employer says to the employee, we want you to do work to do maintenance to the factory. Yeah, so you have to, instead of being uh, the line, we call it the line people. Yeah, so the workers, the one that is producing the car, you see in the video, yeah, online about people producing cars. You see people standing doing the assembly and things like that, right? So instead of being the assembly personnel, so they are to be given work like maintenance, in terms of chart the building, sweeping they are to replace what they call it, uh, contractors that you engaged by the employer. Say, for example, cleaning, you know, certain things like cleaning. Yeah, for example, there are many that can be outsourced by Proton in order for them to have their business going on previously. So now this employee becomes the employee, but not doing the production work. Okay. So that is the slide. Moving on, duty to provide work and wages. Also, when it comes to those position of people, that is unique in nature. Sometimes we can see people are engaged for their commission based work, right? Kalau commission based work, normally we engage agents ataupun we engage what do you call it, seller, yeah. It's not seller, sales marketing, yeah. If you are engaged as a sales marketing officer for that particular office of organization, then you are to do sales. Then the sales is basically, the more sales you make, the more commission that you will get. You might be given a certain minimum wage, yeah. It's very quite small. However, if you are able to do more sales, then obviously you get commission. So some people who likes to be free in their work, yeah, so they want to have this situation, that they are able to work whenever that they want to work. So the more work they do, the more money that they will get. Okay, in this situation, the company cannot make sure that there is a potential business of the person to be able to go and do marketing. So this particular person is able to utilize his own or her own skills in order for them to go out and do marketing, yeah, on behalf of the company. Company normally engage salespeople and tell them about the product, and they will go and find their sales outside. So it is not the duty of the employer to give them work when their work is based on commission. Singers and actors, so the same thing. When there is a demand for uh, singers, say for example performance, then the employer is unable to create a performance ability for the singers and actors. They are not to be able to go to court and say that, hey, this is my employer, they did not give us work, because it depends on the nature of the environment. So sometimes singers are uh, in the industry is very recognized and sorted sorted for by the society, but or by kalau when there is demand, obviously there will be supply. So that when there is no demand, nobody likes you, then it so happen that you are a singer, then obviously there is no work for you. Yeah, the same goes for artisan, yeah? People who do artwork and things like that. And then for skilled workers, doctors also apply, because when it comes to doctors, obviously uh, now for me, I'm having this skin problem that is coming out all over my body. I don't know what it is, but if I don't suffer this particular symptom, it is not possible for the skin doctor to have clients that that is just like me to go over to a specialist. Yeah. So I went to a specialist last week in order for the doctor to identify what seems to be the problem. Okay, so not general workers, sorry, general doctors. Yeah, the apa, we have this locum, yeah, or people GA, the general the general doctors that you go to any clinic. This might go to might be applied to doctors who are specialized, concentrating in their own area. So the more demand, obviously, the more money that they can make. Okay, uh, that is the situation. The next situation is also in the lights of duty to provide work and wages. We have the case of Langston and Amalgamated Union of Engineers Workers. This is again one person against the employer against the union. When employed skilled employee bound to provide work which is to give a chance to do his work, and there is work, yeah, and he is prepared and willing to do it, yeah. So the employer must give the work in order for the person to do the job, because the person, i.e. the employee, is willing to do the or prepared to do the job, because obviously you employ people, obviously the person is eager to do his job, yeah. Because as of right to do his work not only for money but a contribution to the society. Some people, they just not about it's not all about money. It is about my contribution, the feeling of you able to contribute to the society. You self-worth, you know you just don't want to lepa. You just do you want to be somebody that is able to say that I contributed to the society. Especially you are a religious person, you know you feel that. Oh, you don't have to be a religious, but just giving you an example, eh? um to busy himself to utilize and improve his expertise and get satisfaction from work completed. Now, this is one thing that is very basic. You want to be satisfied with your work. Okay? You just don't want to do work just because you want the money. Some of us normally have that kind of attitude, you know, just for the money. But some of us is able to go to work and feel satisfied if they are able to do something, and by the end of the day, somebody recognize them and say thank you so much for doing it. And you feel happy. You know, in life, it's about you to feel happy of what you are doing. Okay, so that is something that is a fundamental nature of a person. Okay, so you can see these cases that goes to court with respect to duty of the employer to provide work and wages. We have a Malaysian situation here. Syarikat Pengusaha Ladang Sdn Bhd. Okay, employer company violated the contract employment for failing to provide any work to its employee for 10 months, whereas in that period there are tasks to be completed. The court, this is when you sue the company. Obviously the duty of you to provide evidence in court to support your claim is crucial. Yeah, if you are unable to provide evidence, then your words against the company words. Yeah, so you have to have evidence in order for you to say I was discriminated. It is a mental torture by the company that just like to do this. This is the negative nature of humankind. They are evil people who likes to do this. Yeah. So you see people kept in dungeons. The cruelty is everywhere. Yeah, but in company also we do have that. Okay? They just don't want to let you go, and they just want to you let yourself go. Yeah? You resign. By you resigning, what is the advantage to the company? Obviously all the benefits that you might get for staying in that company is gone. Your pensions, your EPF, EPF, okay, you might have your pencaruman every month, but as far as the benefit in terms of you going out to find another job, dia kata, what was your previous position? Oh, I used to work in company X ni. So what happened there? Yeah, okay, I used to work there. Okay, you resign. Why do you resign? They don't give me work. Why do they give you work? Then the new employer is seeking some kind of clarification. If you are not given work, you are not satisfied, you resign, and then if they found out, they might be asking whether you are a good employee or not. I mean, you are a good employee, but the stigmatization, you are stigmatized with that position, that you are branded, saying that you are not worth of a person, of a worker. So this is not fair, right? Moving on. Second element is to look at the duty to provide work system that is safe. Obviously, a position that when a person goes to work, the employer must be able to ensure that the workplace must be of a safe environment. Yeah. So this is a fundamental right also, because you are not to be put in a position to risk your life. You know. Um, Okay, so what is the provision of the law? Since Employment Act is not specifically covered, in terms of the sections. So we look at the provision. These work system that are to be safe by employers when they conduct employ employees can be found in many other laws. We have Factories and Machinery Act 1967, OSHA 1994. Okay, we have these two, which is actually the one that is saying to the employer that they must provide safety. So this safety is a very wide meaning. So it depends on the type and form of employment that you are engaged for. So if you are working with the uh, say for example rig oil, station deep in the sea of South China Sea. So in terms of you are engaged with the petroleum, finding or developing of oil, or development. So what is the nature of safety? So over there, if you're working on the rig, we call it what they call it, the rig lah, so if you're working on that rig, what is the safety situation? So safety OSHA will check regularly about whether the system of safety is up to date. What happen if there is an explosion there? So what is the how emergency procedures are they working? Do helicopters are able to reach on time? If the fire is too big, what will happen to the staff, the employees? Are they to jump into the sea? And how do they do that? Jumping into the sea alone would be certain death, because it will be 5 story up. You know, if you jump from 5 story, the tendency of you dying is very high, even though it is in water. Uh, the flat face of the sea is just like a concrete. So we see plane going down on the sea, breaking down just the same as on Earth. Uh, so here we can see that the employer will have to look at the position of the employee where they are working, when suitable for the type and employees area of employment. So if say for example the worker is engaged for sales, like I mentioned just now, for sales, obviously you have to provide a car. If the car is being provided by the employee themselves, it's their own car, so you have to provide also with that some kind of claim structure when it comes to accident. you know so you just cannot leave out and saying that, oops, it's not my responsible to cover the insurance and so on. You must be having some kinds of rules and regulation now. There must be some guided guidelines in order for you to make sure that the staff is safe. You know, sometimes when I used to work with the factory, uh, if that particular person is engaged for what they call it, driving the tractors, yeah, you know, forklift. So this particular person that is engaged for forklift movement, he is appointed only to that particular forklift. And if he were to do that job, and sometimes other people wants to also drive. So what is the position in terms of safety? So we have instances whereby lah budak-budak kilang ni dia tak berapa panjang akal sikit, they just want to have thrill, and the key is always lying around on the lift itself. So they just want to try out. So not able to think about the impact of their act. You know, ada yang lawan race. Antara forklift dengan forklift. Being the administrator with that factory is very demanding for me to monitor the sometimes we have, because the factory is big, from one place to another, they just piggy ride the forklift. So if they piggy ride, sitting on the forklift when there is no space for the forklift, dia duduk bukan duduk sebelah, dia duduk kat belakang, on top of the forklift. Kadang-kadang perempuan pun naik juga, when office workers want to go, from one place to another. It is very difficult for them to walk. It's quite far. This is the situation that you have to bear in mind. Who, what, how, all these kind of things must be there. Okay. As I already mentioned earlier on, when it comes to factory, our factory is a supplier of the windshield wipers, for cars, for Photons. Obviously, there is a section that we are to cook the wipers, the blade. It's not the blade, but the arm, the arm assembly for us to cook, and we have to cook it because we want the powder, the paint powder, to be able to stick longer. A place where it is exposed to the environment. So when you cook, you have to put in a very big oven, and it is a open space. You have danglings of all the arms from one place to another, going here, A, section B. So the fume, the dust that is contained in that particular area, nobody else are supposed to come into that particular area. And if you were to go and do your job, you must wear mask, and a proper mask, with just like the one that you can see in the movies. You have, tanks that is being put on your face, and then obviously we instruct them to drink water every hour, because that face, the cover, the mask itself is not enough to filter the dust, uh, and they are to drink waters. We will supply them with bottles of waters, free waters for them to drink. Okay, so that is the provision, not because we want to do it. That is because the provision of the law that asks us to ensure that. Yeah, if you were not to be able to do that, and if there is a check by OSHA officers visiting our factory, then we will get a fine for that. Okay, we can see with respect to cases, we have this case of Matthew and Quaid Corporation, Bechtel Corporation. Under common law, the employer will be responsible to apply reasonable care. Yeah, reasonable care, you learn taught. What do you mean by reasonable care? So you have to foresee the safety of the person. How do you foresee? You can anticipate lah. You must do your best in order for you to safeguard your staff. Reasonable care must be taken. Safety of his employee when performing their duties. When you engage a person to hold a forklift, to raise the forklift things up on the stacks, of railings. We do have that. We have like 1 story or 2 story high of place that we keep our stocks. So we have to ensure that what happen if the stack collapse. You know, sometimes you see in the movie in YouTube, we have only one place that this particular forklift touches, the whole store collapse. So what will happen? It's not about the worry of the product, but the worry of the workers themselves. So you have to ensure a work system that is safe. How do you do that? You have to anticipate, lah. And then the layout must be is there, and escape route, must be there. If say for example we get another situation whereby you have workers in the tunnel. Yeah, we have a tunnel like Genting Highland. If you were to go to Genting Highland or balik kampung to the north, you have the apa, tunnel what do you call it? Can't remember the name. Sanora, whatever. So if you are a worker in that situation, if accident happen within the tunnel itself, what is your standard procedure? Okay, they have the tunnel. We have tunnel dekat KL tu, where the car that goes in, smart tunnel. Okay, that smart tunnel is a long tunnel, yeah, a few kilometers. So what will happen if there is an accident? So you realize trucks are not allowed into that particular space because trucks accident, you can check online, is the risk is very high. So they only allow cars to go in. So accidents of car, if it happens, then you see the exit route is to be implemented. The things that say for example, if you want your workers to go there and work, you have to bear in mind, you have to foresee their safety. So if you don't do that, then chances are you will be liable for the damages that they suffer. Okay, in the case of Lian An Lorry Transport, the employee sued for injury while unloading goods. In this situation was carpets that the court found that the employer liable for not providing a safety system of work during the unloading. If the nature of unloading is to be in a position that is going to risk the structure of the body, or the physical body of the workers, then you know you are going to be responsible. Can you force a person to drag something that is very heavy on top of their on their neck and then going down? You have to have like steps, proper step is being made. You just cannot simply pass over, and then this can be seen, that is in the countries like Bangladesh, India, and so on, right? The structures is not being done properly when involving people, right? They just engage people and they don't care about the workers' safety. So it is not fair for us to do that. Yeah. So that is a system that is responsible. But here, not responsible if the safe system is given but employees injured anyway. So then it is unavoidable, lah, right? You have done your best. Doesn't mean that you have to eliminate 0%. There are chances that that person is going to suffer some kind of injury, but you have done the best in your ability to prevent accident of that nature. But if it still happens, if you work in an industry whereby you ask people to wear hard caps, kita tengok industry of manufacturing, not construction, sorry, manufacturing pula. Construction, you see people with the hard cap warna kuning tu kan. So what will happen if you wear that? Chances are, your head is not going to be damaged. That does not mean that your head is not going to be damaged if ada batu yang jatuh 10 kilo. Obviously the hat is not able to protect. It's the same with the shoes. We have shoes, that protective shoes that can withstand the toes, you punya kaki, ujung kaki tu dia ada besi. Safety boots is expensive because they have hardening factors. Dia ada besi cover certain places. You punya tumit, you punya apa, you punya knee, you punya what they call it, toes, especially. Yeah, if you see anyone using safety shoes, next time you just go knock in front of the shoes, and you will see it's very hardened. Yeah, that is to protect the person from objects. Yeah, that is dangerous. But obviously, you cannot avoid things that is above that weight, resistant of that wood, that is capable to withstand that weight. I can recall my staff losing his whole hand because the machine. I already talked to you about this, right? So he is not doing his night shift in the stamping machine. We had 20 tons of pressing machine to mold the steel, you know. So he was there pushing in the plate and then pulling out the plate and things like that. So at that time, we have sensors that is supposed to identify whether there is an object before it is pressed down. So by right, the system or the machine will stop. But in this situation, the system failed. Yeah, they have done their what they call it, checking. You calibrate regularly according to what the law says. But still things happen, and it is unfortunate for him. He lost the whole hand. Okay, next is to provide work that is not against the law. Now this is obvious. Yeah, so but still workers, they do not know whether that particular instruction given to them is against the law or not. Say for example, if you're having workers that is engaged in this mantling things, you know, which is under the law. That dismantling, that process of dismantling uh, must be supervised with by another institution, safety institution. Say for example, gas. You cannot simply ask your staff to just uh, open the structures, or open the object without proper existence, or it's supposed to be carried out by another person, which a contractor. You just want to save money, you just ask your staff to do it. Sometimes the contractor will do that. The employer will do that. Contractors, like when it comes to electricity, you're working in an environment whereby big capacity. Kalau kita punya rumah pun kita tak berani to touch electricity, right? But what if you are in an environment of factory? So you can imagine a simple shot can means death to that person. So if you were to move to ask your employee to do certain thing that is not that is against the law, that is not authorized, then you are going to be responsible. Another instances is that I can think of. You ask to dispose certain chemicals. Yeah, you instruct your employee. No, I'm looking in the position that you might be the one that is working in that environment lah. You might ask the employer might ask the employees to dispose. Yeah, you can see a situation of Sungai Kim Kim in Johor. Instances of industrial waste that is being thrown out to the sea or river and so on. That is work that is against the law. So can that person be responsible? So that the person, the employee, would be protected for doing certain instruction that is illegal, which is against the law. Okay. So here we can see that, as I already mentioned, so if he did it and have no knowledge about the task being illegal, or prove that the employer involvement, he will not be responsible. Yeah, and obviously anything happens to him, he can claim his right against the employer under contract of employment. Okay, because ingat itu dia kata impliedly that the employer must assign his work, and under the implied element whereby the employer must give him safe nature. It is implied. Ingat kita buat item before. Okay, I think that's the end for our this session. Yeah. So thank you very much. Hopefully, just to recap balik, this section is only covering the position whereby the implied duty of the employer. Yeah, the implied duty of the employer to provide work, to provide things that is safe for the worker, and not to give the worker a job that is illegal against the law. Yeah, so it is not covered under the law of Employment Act do not cover that, but it is still covered under common law, which is our court's punya decision ataupun the Industrial Relation punya Act. Yeah. So with that, thank you. Uh, all the best. Selamat berbuka. Selamat berbuka. Selamat bersahur. Thank you very much. Assalamualaikum.